Military sexual trauma can affect people of all backgrounds, regardless of their age, race, gender identity, or sexual orientation. No matter how long it's been since the experience, you can get compassionate care from VA to support your healing. Learn about the many care options designed to help military sexual trauma survivors. To get started, call your local VA facility and ask to speak with your MST coordinator.
Hello and welcome again to Oscar Mike Radio. My name is Travis. I am the host. Oscar Mike Radio is part of the Hubazoo Network. You can find out more on hubazoo.com. I want to thank my sponsors, Joyce Asack of Asack Real Estate, Army National Guard, veteran Mark Holmes of Reapers Detailing and Power Washing, and my veteran-owned business supporters, Semper Savage, Bottom Gun Coffee, and Cason Shaving Company. All right, ladies and gentlemen, right across the table from me here in Tewksbury is an Army veteran. Reached out to me and, we got connected. And she had this program she wanted to talk about with me through the Commonwealth of Massachusetts called Mass Helpline. So without any further ado, and with great pleasure, I want to introduce Gail McAuliffe to Oscar Mike Radio. Gail, how are you doing?
I'm good, and I'm so happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's amazing what, two veterans can do when we get together in a library on a Saturday in north of Boston. It's just great to meet you. And you told me you had this program that you were part of called the Mass Helpline, or the Mass Behavioral Health Helpline. And it's right here. Let me do it like this. I'm going to have this in the Oscar Mike Radio show post, and I got really interested about it. So before we get into all that good stuff, because it's all good stuff, why don't you tell me a little bit about your military career in history?
So I'm an Army veteran. I was in from 1995 to 1999, Signal Corps. So I was stationed in Fort Hood, Texas, and then I got to go to the lovely Fort Richardson, Alaska, which I loved it. It was great. It's beautiful country up there, so I do recommend. I always tell people, go to Alaska. It's beautiful. So I was fortunate enough to do that. I came home and I went to school on the old Montgomery GI Bill. I worked for the Veterans Northeast Outreach Center as a work-study student for several years, and then I went to work for the Commonwealth of Mass Department of Veterans Services.
Oh, really?
I worked there for 16 years. I left and I went to work for the VA for a little while, and now happily I am not not happily, but I'm not working in public service anymore. I'm working for a private entity. I'm working for Beacon Health Options, and we have this program which we're going to talk about here soon.
Awesome. So we served around the same years. I was 95 and 99. So that's pretty cool. You do all this in the public sector space after you got out, and now you're working for this entity. What's that been like, bouncing through the different organizations?
I mean, it's been, veterans always are going to have my heart, right? That's where I live. But this is a chance for me to help a wider population outside of just the veteran world, right? So that's awesome. I'm psyched about that. And it's different working for a private entity. They have their own levels of bureaucracy and things outside of the government, right? We're used to government bureaucracy. This is a little different, but I'm navigating it, and it's kind of great in a way.
Well, awesome. So tell me, because you sent me the email, we got connected, and then I started looking at it. And this appears to be not only a program for veterans, but also anybody in the Commonwealth. So just tell us a little bit about what this program you're helping spearhead is, and who benefits from it.
Okay, so this is the Massachusetts Behavioral Health Helpline. It's a little bit of a tongue twister if you say it fast. The number, I'm just going to rattle that off real quick, 833-773-2445. And our website is www.masshelpline.com. This is part of the Commonwealth's roadmap to behavioral health reform. It's free to anyone available in the Commonwealth, 24/7, 365. We launched January 3rd, and so it's a brand new program. It's super exciting to be part of. For the veteran community, it's of course available to them, but when I think about the veteran community at large, I think about the spouses and the children, right, who may not have access to the Veteran Crisis Line, right? This is something for everyone. This is available to anyone who's in the Commonwealth. So I think that's really important to say that it's across the board available to everybody.
Yeah, that's what I like because, I have the VA app on my phone, right? And there's a hotline available to veterans, but I really like the aspect that this is, from reading the website, available to everyone in the Commonwealth, regardless of your veteran status or what you do for a living or your educational background. You can pick up the phone or get on the website and get help. So where did the idea for this program come from?
So, like I said, this is part of the Commonwealth's roadmap for behavioral health reform. So it started under the last administration and is carrying through to the new administration. And really, this is to get people help when they need it. Bring help to them, right? And the other, so it is a helpline, right? But we do have some cool features. We have a text feature and a chat feature as well. So if you don't want to get on the phone and talk, or maybe you're in a situation where it's not convenient to talk on the phone, we do have that text and chat feature available as well. So that's cool. We know teenagers like to text and,
right.
Maybe not talk on the phone as much, and the chat's available there as well. So those are some really cool features that maybe some other helplines don't have available to them. So that's really cool. It's available in 200 languages via interpreter services that are available. Our print material will be available in 13 languages. So that's really cool. We want to hit all the populations, right? We want to hit everybody. I have a super big mouth, so lucky me, I get to talk about this, right? And say, look, we want everyone to use this, right? We want every, gender, nationality, across the board, right? We want to hit all the populations.
So go back a little bit and just talk about the roadmap with me. When you say roadmap, that means we're at a certain state right now, and the Commonwealth wants to get to a different state by virtue of having this program. What's the Commonwealth's best outcome for implementing this program?
So the Commonwealth realized there was a need for support, right? And there are a number of helplines available. The Substance Use Helpline, 211-988, all these different things, right? So what the Behavioral Health Helpline is the new front door, if you will. So you walk through our front door and we can connect you to a range of services and clinical professionals, and even other helplines if that's something that you need. So we're what they're calling the new front door, right? So you call the helpline and you're in the front door, and we're going to take care of you from soup to nuts, whatever it is that you need. If your needs are sort of not urgent, more routine, we're going to be able to take care of those, all the way up to an actual crisis intervention where maybe, mobile crisis has to go out and, talk to someone.
So let's use a scenario that happens more often than it should in the veteran community, for example. There's a veteran who's in mental distress, and needs help. But a lot of times, unless that veteran seeks help, there's no recourse. Could a family member who's watching their veteran family member going through this say, you know what, I think there's something bad going to happen? Can they call the mass helpline and say, hey, I need help to figure out how to deal with this and get assistance?
Yep. So we will talk to the family members. We'd rather, of course, talk
Right.
to the person, but we will talk to the family members, and we will help them, in that moment, either come up with a safety plan or a plan to get someone seen, either, at the community-based health centers. There's 25 of them across the Commonwealth. They're new community-based health centers, or any provider that's available within the quickest time frame.
Yeah, the reason I ask is, a lot of times the family members are watching, these distress situations, or trying to understand how to best support that person, and they feel cut off and alone because, in our case, they're not veterans, so they can't go to the VA. And they also understand, a lot of times in private health care, if it's not that veteran making the initial call, there's not a lot they can do. But they see this situation, developing. They want to help out. So I was just curious about that. You rolled it out in January. What's been the initial reaction for people who have called up? Do you know?
Again, it's a brand new program.
Yeah.
And we really rolled out with no advertising, no anything. Those things are still, in the works. I just brought out the print material, which we just got available. So, we're getting calls. And it's all been really word of mouth. The lines they're not overwhelmed, but we're getting calls. So just through people talking to each other, just through community folks like myself talking to people, the lines are getting calls. So there is a need for this service, and we're really pleased.
Well, I just like the way this is laid out. Going through a tough time, help is here. It's 24/7, 365. You see it right here, and there's the call or text line down there. And, just we were talking about teenagers earlier. Well, you can use your phone, and there's the QR code right there, and you can get connected with somebody. And there's a chat line here. I just like the fact that you've tried to think about different options for people to communicate with you all.
Yeah, so we are. There's can be safety concerns where someone maybe can't talk on the phone, but maybe they could just send a quick text, or, they're near a computer, they could chat. So those things are definitely have been into consideration for sure. And again, for younger folks, right, like they love their phones, right? So we wanted to make sure that we had a way to connect with everybody. So that's been something that was really thoughtful as this was being built, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So a lot of times, we veterans serve and we get out and we lose that aspect of service. But you've been able to maintain, this career of service to not only veterans, but also to people in your community and in the Commonwealth. What effect has that had on you as you go through life and realize that you're having, this effect on people?
It's great when you know that you've help someone, right?
Yeah,
or
yeah.
you've made a difference in their life in some kind of way, some kind of positive way, right? So that's an awesome thing to see. So now this gives me a chance to sort of step out of the veteran world a little bit, but still stay connected, but also be able to help that larger population of folks, right? Young kids, older folks, wives, spouses, husbands, marginalized populations. So this is a really big, step, and I'm so happy to be part of this new initiative.
Well, we're talking with Gail McAuliffe, Army veteran, and she is a part of this Mass Helpline initiative. And we're in Tewksbury in the library right now having a great time. One thing that came to mind as I'm going through this is this seems really unique. Is Massachusetts the only state doing something like this?
I think we have some similar initiatives going on across the border in New Hampshire. And I think some other states are, rolling out this type of service because there is a need for it. In the last couple of weeks, we've unfortunately had some tragedies that have come up, right? Duxbury, just this past week in Andover. So there is a need for this type of service, right? There is a need for people to be able to connect in that moment,
Well, that's the thing, right? And, there's the Duxbury Andover, and there's the veteran at the Jamaica Plain who, committed suicide. So the problem is still there. And, I'm very interested because a lot of times you hear, well, the government as a whole doesn't care. The state as a whole doesn't care. And I'm going through, the website, leading up to today, and I'm like, okay, somebody cared enough to, make the position statement, get the budget, do all the work in creating this program, hire the staff. So people care. Is that what you want people to know about?
Oh yeah, we definitely care. My team cares. So there's 10 of us across the Commonwealth that are doing the community outreach. We have it kind of broken up into regions. So there's boots on the ground, that's us. And there's 10 of us. So we're covering the whole Commonwealth, right? From Northeast, which is my region, all the way out to Western Mass, because I know folks sometimes in Western Mass feel forgotten out there. But we do have a team out there as well. And so, we want to cover everybody. We want to make sure people understand that this program is available to them. It started in the last administration, but it's carried through to the new administration. And so, there are people that care, that sat down, thought this through very thoughtfully, and put it together. And so, yeah, we're really super excited about it. So, like I said, it's going to be available to non-English speakers, right? 200 languages. They'll have interpreter services available. We'll have print material available in 13 languages. So that's pretty unique as well. And, we're going to take those routine calls. We're going to take those urgent calls where someone might need to be seen within a couple of days, and then we're going to take those, we need to intervene at this moment. So we're going to cover the whole range, and then we are connected to the new 25 new community behavioral health centers, and so that's really the first place we're going to go, right? But if they're busy, if they can't see somebody, or if somebody has a preference, we're going to go into more providers, and we're going to get people seen. That's really the goal, is to get people see someone, in a timely manner.
Gotcha. Help me out here. I've heard behavioral health, and I'm not a health guy, but I think physical health, I think emotional health, mental health, but how does behavioral health differ from, say, mental health?
Behavioral health sort of is the whole person, right? So we're looking at the whole individual. We're not just looking at their physical health, we're not just looking at their mental health, but we're looking at the whole individual when they talk about behavioral health. Okay. So we want to look at the individual as a whole. We don't want to just say, oh, this is a mental health issue, this is a physical health issue, but it's a whole health issue, right?
Well, I'm thinking as you're talking is, for a lot of us in our community, a lot of physical problems have an effect on you mentally over time, where you're dealing with sustained pain or discomfort, and you're trying to deal with that, or you have some kind of other mental trauma anguish and you're trying to deal with that. And in my understanding that, what can happen to you physically can affect you mentally, and that's the whole thing behavioral health's trying to answer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we're trying to, look at the entire person, right? And then of course a person's not a person has other things going on in their life, right? They have, finances, housing, all these different things, jobs, you name it, right? So we can connect people to those resources as well as, clinicians, right? We can connect them to community resources that can, help with those other issues that may be trying at that moment, right? Maybe on the forefront at that moment.
I'm almost thinking here that it's almost like Maslow's hierarchy that you all are trying to address.
Yeah, right. So that's
Okay.
that's a pretty good analogy, right? Like I said, so we're not the only player, right? We're not the
Right.
only player in the game, right? We have 211, we have BSAS, the Substance Use Helpline, 988. There's all these things. So none of them are wrong. None of them are wrong, right? We want you to reach out however it's comfortable for you, but we want to be that front door. We want to be that wide open front door to whatever resources you need.
So are you saying like I'm just going back to the military thing here that I'm a veteran, call you up, and I say, hey, I'm going through the situation. You can also say, okay, we're gonna do an intake on you, but also, hey, we're gonna then contact like the VA resources.
I mean, there's ways for us to do
Okay.
that if that is what the person wants, right?
Gotcha.
If that's not something that they want, right? We know sometimes people have had bad experiences or negative experiences, and they're looking for something different, right? We want to be that something different, but we also want to put them in a place where they're comfortable, right?
Okay. So how did you all develop the relationships with these other entities to work together? Because there's a lot of them, and there's different ones that do different things, and you're trying to, move Mass Helpline forward.
Yeah, I mean, it's a phenomenal task, right? It's very
yeah.
huge what we're trying to do here. So things are still, it's 1,000 working pieces, right? All kind of working together, right? So, it's how do I want to say it? It's a constant progress, right? It's always working. Something new is always happening, right? Things are being tweaked, things are being changed, things are being adjusted, and it's 1,000 working pieces every day, all the time, right? But we want to be that front door that people can know if they come in, we're going to get them where they need to go.
What about the confidentiality aspect? The reason I ask is a lot of people that I know who are first responders, law enforcement, ENS are hesitant, and sometimes justifiably so, that if they seek help, they're going to be treated differently at their work, or in their case, worse, relegated to desk duty or separated.
Right. So again, there is that issue, right? And but we're not Big Brother, right? We're here to get you to where you need to go to help. We're not here to cause any further problems down the road for you, right? So we, of course, we are protecting all that information so that people can feel comfortable making those phone calls. We're gonna keep that person's information as private can be. And we're not here to disclose it to anyone.
So I'm a member. Well, is that the right way to say it?
We've been using the term member. I think you can use whatever term is
Well,
comfortable with.
I'm saying I'm not really a member of the Commonwealth, but
Citizen.
Citizen. Thank you. I'm a citizen of the Commonwealth. And I still can't figure out what the difference is between a Commonwealth and state, but that's a different conversation. But I'm a citizen of the Commonwealth. I live, in the Boston area. What can someone who lives in the Commonwealth do to help you with this program?
I mean, seriously, talk about it. That's all you have to do. Post it on your Facebook. Tell your friends to share it, right? That's really, like I said, that's how we've been sort of operating since the beginning of January, is sort of word of mouth, right? And so it's like that old, you're kind of an old guy, right, with me, so you'll remember that old Germac commercial, she told two friends and she told two friends, and so on and so on and so on. That's it, right? That's how we've been working so far. Our ad campaign isn't scheduled to fully take off, I think, until March. So we've been just word of mouth, word of mouth. So, you know, you tell two friends, you tell two friends, so on and so on.
We're both in Massachusetts. This is kind of like, you're kind of like the new Paul Revere. Blazing the free.
We are blazing a new, some new ground here, right? This is new ground.
Not to be like Gleiber or anything, but think about it. You know, modern day Paul Revere, in a trail for behavioral health fulfillment and help. I mean, the British aren't coming. Well, they might be, but if you're having a problem, here's you all on the horse going through different parts of the state, not just Boston, saying this is available to you.
Yeah.
It's a very Massachusetts thing.
Yeah, it really is. And like I said, we've hit the ground running, right? So it started the 3rd. Today's just the 11th of February. I didn't start with the company until December 27th. So it's been like rapid fire, right? Go seek the people, talk to them.
She's Oscar Mike, folks. She's Oscar Mike. That's amazing. So you're starting off now. Let's just fast forward a little bit to say, you know, I don't know, Q3 of this year. How are you going to start measuring your success of this program as time goes on?
I mean, I'm sure because we are contracted through the Commonwealth, DMH is the contract holder, right?
DMH, who's that?
Department of Mental Health. So DMH is the contract holder. We are contracted through them, although we are a private entity. You know, of course, they're gonna want to see success, right? What is success? I mean, success is getting people the help they need in the time frame that they need it. That's what I call success, right? I don't know if you would call it something different. Or get them to the support systems that they need, or the community partners that they need, or whatever it is that they need in the time frame that they need it. Not have people, you know, waiting 3-6 weeks to get a call back from a provider, right? We want to get them to that provider in the time frame that they need it. And our goal really is to let everyone in the Commonwealth know that this is available to them. I have a crazy schedule coming up in the next couple of weeks. You know, so it's really just talking to the masses, right? Talking to the people that are out in the world, telling them, hey, spread the word, tell your friends, let your friends know about this. You know, just yesterday morning, I was on my way to meet with my team for our first in-person meeting, right? Our first in-person meeting. And I stopped by the Tewksbury Police Station. And I said, look, I'm the rep for this area. I just want to drop off these brand new materials that just hit my doorstep. And they were like, we were just talking about you guys. So people, the buzz is out there, right? So they know that we're out there. We just want everyone talking about it, right? We want to get that word out to everybody and have everybody telling their friends. And we want to make sure that, look, if you don't want to call the substance abuse line, or if you don't want to call the veteran helpline, or if you don't want to call, we're that new front door, right? We're going to open that door wide, and we're going to get you the services that you need, whether it's, you know, community resources, all the way to crisis intervention, you know. And we're going to do this in a thoughtful way. We have clinicians that are answering the phones, master's level and bachelor level clinicians that are answering the phones. We have, what was I going to say? Master's level and bachelor clinicians answering the phones, and we're using the same Columbia risk rating scale, which is an evidence-based best practice, and it's the same scale that the VA uses for risk assessment. So we're using that same scale, but we're doing it in a more human way. We're doing it in a conversational way. We're doing it in a friendly way. We're doing it where we make a rapport, a connection with the person on the other end of the phone. And then we're going to provide a warm handoff to those community-based healthcare centers, CBHC. We love acronyms, right? We love them. So we're going to do a warm handoff. We're not just going to say, call this number and schedule an appointment. We're going to be on the phone with the person, and we're going to come up with a plan together with them that works for them. You know,
So this is almost like a partnership when that person calls. It's not just, okay, I've got to hit my call center numbers for the week. You know, it's not about that.
it's actually not. It really is a partnership. We want to create, you know, a plan with the person. We want to get them connected, and we want to see that that plan is, you know, something that works for them. And then the other cool thing is we're going to follow up with
really?
those
Okay.
folks. We're going to, if it's a routine call, we're going to follow up within a couple of weeks, see how they're doing. If it's an urgent or, you know, more urgent call, we're going to call within the next 48 hours. And if it's a crisis, we're going to get them seen as soon as possible, and we're going to call every hour until we know that that person is okay, right? So we are following up. So that is another kind of unique feature that we have to offer, is that follow-up to make sure that the person is getting the services that they need.
That's really different. That's really different because a lot of times people feel like they're just in a call center, or they go to an office once, fill out some paperwork, and then they just disappear into a dark hole. You know, you asked me earlier what I thought, you know, success would be. I did some research one time, and I think, I don't have it right off the top of my head, but I do have it, where a suicide costs, if you look at it in hard dollars, about $3.5 million for the average human life. And the entity that did it looked at the wages lost, but also looked at the impact of the community. And one of the things the study said is they couldn't measure, though, what the pain of that caused to family members, children, and generational loss. So in some ways, you can't really calculate, you know, what's lost by someone taking their own life. So I look at it as, yes, I agree with you. Anybody that can be helped out is potentially, you know, the value is just, you can't calculate it, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, you can't put a cost on human life. You can't put a cost on relationships, you know, things like that. You can't really put a cost on that, right? I think there's a movie called Worth, where they, after the 9/11 bombing, right, and the lawsuits, and they tried to calculate the worth of a human life, and it's, you know, it's crazy. Like, how do you do that? And the movie is quite interesting, actually, but it's just really goes to prove that you can't calculate that. It's an intrinsic number, right? It's like it's out there in the universe, right? Like you can't
Well,
ever calculate that.
I just think it's interesting that, you know, the prior administration and this administration drew the line in the sand and said enough's enough. We're going to try something different. And this is, ladies and gentlemen, here I'm sitting here with Gail. I'm going to have these all on social media and in my room. I'm going to hand these out to some VFWs too, Gail.
Yeah, please do that, and I'm happy to, you know, come down, restock, or connect you with the rep in your area and have her come out and restock you anytime you need. You know, we're hitting the ground running. We've got some big plans coming up for this year. We're hoping to be at the Big E. We're hoping to be at the Westfield Air Show. We want people to know we're out there in their community. And we're going to be around. I've got a whole schedule next week that's like, crazy. But I'm happy to do it, right? That's what I do. I make those connections. I'm a human. I make human connections, right? And that's what the helpline is doing. We're making human connections. We're treating the caller as human. We're treating them not as a number, right? They're a human, and we're going to give them that warm handoff to another human. And we're going to make sure that we're going to follow up and make sure that that human is okay.
I'm thinking, Gail, I'm going to get one of these to, hey, Adam Gunn, the Abington, Mass. Veteran Service Officer. I'm gonna get him connected with this, and maybe, so, little story.
I will be at the VSO conference this week, this coming 15th.
Really?
So I will be at the VSO conference. I will have materials there for the local VSOs. And we're going to do a little presentation about this.
I will tell him to look you up because he does some amazing things in the South Shore area, and you know one of the things that they're doing is Martin's in Abington has a once a month deal for veterans, and they have presenters, and I think this would be good to get the word out.
Yeah, we have two lovely ladies on the South Shore. I think it's Ashley and Erin are our South Shore reps, and they'll be glad to come out and talk to you. I'll be glad to do a warm handoff, right? Introduce the ladies to you, right? Get you guys connected.
Well, I'm kind of chuckling because Adam kind of gets me voluntold to things, all, wink, wink, nod, nod, chuckle, chuckle. But this.
I just voluntold my friends, right?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
my coworkers, they're doing this.
This is how this works.
Right, that's what I'm saying, right? She told two friends, and she told two friends, and so on and so on. Really, all we've been doing is word of mouth so far, right? Word of mouth, because our stuff wasn't ready, right? But the line was ready, and we needed to get people to start calling, right? And making those connections. And really, it's been, it's been crazy.
I was going to say, it must be you start off and the word starts going, and then, I guess, as we kind of wind this down, what's going to happen if this, not that it's not taking off, it is, but what if it happens if you do get a spike in heavy traffic of people calling this line?
They're preparing for that, right?
Okay.
They're hiring staff, they're preparing for that. They expect that there'll be seasons or, times when there will be, a crazy amount of people calling. They don't want to keep people on hold. They have folks answering the phones right now. And the idea is to not have people on hold, to get them into talking to someone and get those conversations started. It's available 365, 24/7. So we have staff around the clock answering those calls. And they're doing it right now as we speak. The idea is to just keep us staffed up and keep us community folks out in the community, getting the word out to the populations that need it, the folks that need it, so that, these preventable things, these preventable situations become preventable, right? We want to prevent tragedy from happening. We want to prevent loss. We want to prevent, these things that could be preventable.
Just in our community, right? A lot of veterans have a problem. And okay, I can deal with that problem. I'm a veteran. I served in the military, for Christ's sakes. And then they have another problem. And another problem. And then 3 months later, it's like, oh, wow, I've got big problems. My power's getting ready to be shut off. I don't have food. I can't, get to work. And that's why I go back to Maslow's hierarchy. When those things start getting affected, it almost seems like, hey, if you call sooner rather than later, you can prevent more cost.
Yeah, well, of course, that's what we want to do. We want to head off the ultimate tragedy, right? We want to stop that tragedy before it happens, right? That's why we're here. So we're going to start with the community resources. We're going to get people connected. If they need clinical, care, if the risk assessment shows that they need that kind of clinical intervention, we're going to get that to them. And look, if it comes to that moment where, that person is really... we have mobile youth crisis intervention. We have mobile adult crisis intervention. We're going to send somebody to them. And the worst, we're going to try to do this in the least invasive way. But if worse comes to worse, we're going to get 911 involved. We're going to send somebody to them. We're not going to let that tragedy happen if we can prevent it in any kind of way.
I'm looking at all these materials you have here in front of me, Gail, and thank you so much. Help is here.
Help is here. The cavalry has arrived.
Well, the cavalry or Paul Revere, I think I like that because it is Massachusetts. Hey, the British are coming, but help is here.
Yeah, help is here. And so that's the big message, right? That's the end kind of takeaway at this. We want people to know help is here. Pick up the phone. Let us be that front door to open the door to services for you. Whether it be those community services, support groups, peer groups, whatever, or again, maybe you need that clinical intervention. Maybe you need to seek, medical help sooner than later, right? And then we're going to be there in that crisis moment if it comes to that. We want to be able to prevent that from happening, right? So we're going to cover the range of services from routine to crisis, but we're here and we want to be that front door. And I also want to say, look, if you call the Veterans Hotline, if that's your thing and if that works for you, that's fine. We're not here to step on anyone's toes or take anything away from any of these other lines that are working, right? We're just here, we're just another resource. We're just another provider. We're going to be that front door. No way is the wrong way to seek help, right? No
Right.
way is the wrong way. Just do it. Just seek the help, right? However it works for you.
Well, one of the things that I hear a couple of things from my community. First of all, we don't like asking for help. We do not like asking for help. And then the other thing is, there is that fear of the unknown. What happens if I ask for help? And so those are two very hard things to get over. And this kind of hits close to home because, in January 23rd, when that veteran committed suicide at Jamaica Plain, it was like, man, what's going on? There's so many resources available. And I've heard so many times where I'm like, well, I'm scared to call. I don't know what's going to happen if I call. And, it seems like with this, and look, I'll have the link to the website in Oscar Mike Radio show post. They go over what you all do. This is not an accusation. This is not, you're messed up. This is like, help is here. And so I want people to understand that, hey, there's a quicker way to do this. There's a better way to do this. And I just want to thank you for taking the time to talk with me.
Yeah, you're going to get a live clinician. They're going to do that Columbia risk assessment, see where you're at, but then they're going to hand you to another provider, right? And they're going to stay on the phone while you come up with a plan together to get those services. Once that plan is in place, the helpline will step back, but then we're going to follow up to make sure that that was good for you and that you got the services that you needed. Whether it be in, a couple of weeks for a routine call, 48 hours for, an urgent call, or, hourly for that person that is in that moment. We're going to get them to where they need to go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Gail is truly Oscar Mike. She is the modern day Paul Revere, blazing a trail with her team through the Commonwealth about behavioral health, and help is here. I love doing this, Gail. I just, we had a great email exchange, and then I started going, fully into what you all do. And I'm like, this is awesome because, when someone asks me, what do I do? And, when I have that situation, I'm like, well, help is literally here. And I'm going to have this posted in my little studio and give this out. Thank you.
Yeah, and we just want to know, help is here, right? Don't pick up the phone, make the call. Don't worry about the end result, right? Because the end result is better than
Where you are now,
right? Get that help. Pick up that phone and talk to someone and get in, get seen, and get taken care of. And this is for family, children, I have schools that I'm going to go talk to. I have police officers, everything. We're not trying to step on anyone's toes. We just want to be a partner in the party. Well, not that it's a party, but we want to be a partner in the answer. We want to be part of the answer.
Absolutely. A lot of women veterans talk to me about trying to find their way after they serve, or, still having that sense of purpose and service, after military service. And you're doing it, and you never really left it. As you go through this year, and you're, dealing with all these complex challenges, what would you tell that female veteran who's trying to stay in touch with her purpose of service?
I mean, there are lots of ways to serve, right? And it's hard when you're a wife, a mother, you have other stuff going on in your life, right? But you feel like you're disconnected from, your purpose, right? It becomes overwhelming sometimes. Service is not just, you know, there's lots of ways to serve, right? There's lots of places and areas to serve in. And sometimes it's just, you know, I can't give money, right? But I can give my time. But some people find it easier to give money. But time is also valuable, right? So, you know, you can volunteer and maybe you do it once a month, or maybe you do it, you know, once a quarter, or whatever fits into your busy schedule, right? Because we're all crazy out flat some days, right? And so we know that, right? So you have to make your service fit your life. I have been fortunate enough that, you know, service has been my life over the last 20 so years or whatever. So for me, it's a natural fit, you know, but again, there's, you know, the mission continues. They do a lot of volunteer work. Team Rubicon does a lot of volunteer work. New England Shelter always has volunteers. Habitat for Humanity has veteran projects. Whatever fits into your life and your schedule, you know, then, you know, do it. And sometimes time is more valuable than money.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I am Travis with Oscar Mike Radio, sitting here with Gail Kavanaugh McAuliffe, excuse me, and she is with the Mass Helpline. I'm going to put it up here one more time. You'll be seeing these all in, you know, everywhere Oscar Mike Radio is. And, you know, I just love this story. You know, I love this story, and I wish nothing but success. And yeah, the help is here. Help is here. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm happy to come back in, you know, 6 months, 8 months, and give you an update.
Yes, well, she beat me to it, folks. Yes, I want you back on.
Okay, I'm happy to do it. Just let me know.
All right.
All right.
Well, as we say in Oscar Mike Radio, we are mission in flight. She is definitely Oscar Mike. We will see you soon. Take care.
Join us on National Wreaths Across America Day, December 16th, 2023. Each December on National Wreaths Across America Day, our mission to remember, honor, and teach is carried out by coordinating wreath-laying ceremonies at Arlington National Cemetery, as well as more than 3,700 additional locations in all 50 states, at sea and abroad. Join us by sponsoring a veteran's wreath at a cemetery near you, volunteering, or donating to a local sponsor group.
Thank you for listening and watching Oscar Mike Radio, where our active duty service members and veterans are in action and the mission is in flight. If you are a veteran or know a veteran who needs help, please dial 998 and press 1 for the Veterans Crisis Line.